So I have a confession to make. This was a hard Shabbat to get ready for after all of the different moments of the high holy days in these last few weeks. And then also with what's going on in our world. I came tonight and I was like looking for what I needed to say. And part of it is I know the beginning, and I made reference to it. Actually, can we get camera one to the ark? There we go. Okay. So if you notice, and I'm on camera one, if you notice, we have olive oil lamp and candle. This is kind of representative of kind of the way I feel right now with the world, that third time's a charm. I think Marlis knocked it over once, Cantor knocked it over once. I got it tonight. I was moving the candlesticks, knocked it over, and took out one of the vessels of olive oil. It broke it. We got it. We're going to have to replace it. And I was like, well, I could put 2 candles here, but I love the olive oil. It's such a simple way of doing something sustainable. We actually grow cotton that is used in the wick. Olive oil, it just burns. It's a lot more renewable than what we use for candles. Just a wonderful kind of symbol of acknowledging sustainability. But I love that, one's a candle and one's an olive oil lamp, because it kind of feels like the state our world is in, and it feels like the state of our Torah portion on this Shabbat. The Torah portion, Ha'azinu, is a poem, and whereas the crossing of the Sea of Reeds, another poem, Shirat Hayam, has a little bit of text and a space, and a little bit of text and a space, and a little bit of space, and then space and a little bit of text. It makes kind of brick on half brick. So you see the sea sparting, but everything is balanced. Ha'azinu is in these 2 really stark columns. And what's more is part of the way that the Torah portion is described is that part of the people of Israel go onto Mount Gerizim, and part of the people go onto Mount Ebal, and one side calls out curses and the other blessing. One of the mountains is desolate and the one is lush and green, and you feel the people of Israel like pulled apart, kind of like Ha'azinu. The rabbis talk about that image of that separation and that understanding of perspective. And I feel like our world, in so many ways, is pulled apart. There is so much division and separation. I mean, I can talk about politics. That's easy. This is separation, right? Here we're in the sanctuary. You all are at home. There's a big gulf between us. I feel like y'all are on Mount Gerizim and I'm on Mount Ebal, and I'm calling out to you, and I can't even hear because you're so far away. Just part of the challenge of all of this. Think about us in our state, that we can't even have people in our sanctuary, and yet tomorrow night, if you turn on the Florida Gator game, it's great to be a Florida. There are going to be 90,000 fans at the Swamp cheering on the Gators against the Alabama Crimson Tide. There's this strange disconnect that is going on in our world in so many different levels and ways. And it's even this time of year. It's a strange time of year. It's part of the reason it was hard to get ready for this Shabbat, because we finished the high holy days, but we're getting ready for Sukkot. We're still at the end of Deuteronomy. We're waiting to get to Genesis. We've started the new year, but we're still at the end. It's this kind of, we're split personalities. We haven't finished the whole journey. You feel like you're done, but you're not done. And you feel like you're just gearing up, but you're coming to an end. It's getting pulled apart in all of these different directions. And that was kind of left me very deflated, of all of this division and separation. And it's just a lot. It's wearing, because it's like, wait, what do we do? How do we overcome this? And you keep trying to pump energy into bridging that gap of trying to bring people together. I mentioned the Florida Gators, and this is part of a solution. I knew the solution was there, kind of like a sneeze that doesn't quite come out. right? If you go to a Gator game and one side of the stadium goes orange, and what does the other side say? Blue. I'm glad Melinda, who's got a child at Florida State, was able to get that out, and there was no cursing or spitting that was going on. One side calls orange and another blue. I'm sure they have something similar at Florida State, lots of schools, but it's incredible to hear all of those people, and you just hear this roar, orange, blue, or like the people of Israel and Abal and Gerizim calling back and forth to each other, but yet they're separated and calling back and forth. But then, as I thought about that, there was another line from our Hebrew text, from our Hebrew Bible, that just, as I thought about that and them calling back and forth to each other and that feeling of waiting for the sound to arrive, I thought about Isaiah. It's a text we all know, but we don't really know. In Isaiah 6, there's this moment where Isaiah has this awesome, incredible, amazing, mind-blowing image of God up on God's throne, and there are angels, and what do they say? Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot Melech haaretz kavodo. And the build up to it of holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. His kavod fills all of creation, is one side calls out to the other. Then you have this image of the angels on one side and the angels on the other side, and Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. I don't know if you can hear it with the microphone, that as one side calls out, the other hears it, and it just fills all of creation with that word of holiness, and you feel it. Just like the orange and blue, and you can feel the sound of people calling out. Here the angels are saying, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot. They are filling creation with God's presence and God's holiness. I knew that was a response. I knew with all of with Ha'azinu and two columns pull apart, and how do we support each other? With the people of Israel, one on Gerizim and one on Abal, how do we support each other? With all of this physical distancing and masked or differences of opinion or of ways of approaching the world, with all of these ways we're pulled apart in this time of year where we're kind of betwixt and between, how do we create that Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh? And I didn't have an answer. I was like, I know I want to say it, but I don't want to stand in front of the congregation and say, I know I've got a solution. I don't know what it is. And then something incredible, something interesting happened. I got on to the Zoom, and y'all started to show up. 31 logons. I don't know if that's how many are still here. And y'all started to greet each other. Some in the chat, some with a wave and visiting and asking how each other was doing. And as I watched over the course of that 10 minutes of you all popping up, coming to be with Cantor and I, coming to join the service for what? This time of Shabbat, which is holy. That you came to join us. And as I saw each of your images and smiles and the messages back and forth, suddenly that exhaustion, that tired, that I don't know what wisdom I have, and I heard you all provide the wisdom. Because all of you coming into this holy time said Kadosh to each other, Kadosh, Kadosh. Your smiles, your greeting, your joy of coming to be refreshed and renewed, the vayinafash, to reconnect your soul, it brought. And that's what, when we say Kaddish, let us hear your amen in the chat. That is exactly what we are doing. Let us keep doing that. Let us realize the power of that. That even when we feel our world pulled apart in two very different directions, when we feel like there's one side and the other side, when we feel betwixt and between, let us be those ones that can call out Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. When we see someone in that state, let us do that act of reaching out. We have all sorts of incredible, simple ways just showing up with that smile, with that question, with that love and light. Let us, in this new year where we start with so many challenges before us, call out to each other. Let us listen to each other. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Molochul Haaretz Kavodo. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. May the whole earth be filled with God's kavod, that weight, that presence. What do we do when we say that? You lift yourselves up. Tonight, when you came to join us in this holy space, you sure lifted my spirits. And I hope that with each act and each time we get a chance to come together, that I will be able to lift your spirits in this year to come. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.